What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. So, first order of business today. I want to talk about Charlo versus Juan Montiel. Now, it was one of those action-packed type fights. A lot of punches being landed, a lot of back and forth action. Charlo dominated that fight. He won the fight. Clearly, there was no close decision. I saw a lot of people talking about it was a good close fight. I don't know about close. Good fight, yeah. Close, no. Charlo did say that Montiel was tougher than he thought he would be, and it showed in that fight. Montiel, that to me was his greatest attribute in that fight, his toughness. Because Charlo rocked him several times with some solid shots, and he staggered him but couldn't finish him. And he showed resilience, he showed a lot of heart, he showed a lot of toughness, mental toughness and physical toughness. And of course, people love to comment, make the same exact comments every time someone who has a name has a fight, and they don't destroy the person the way everybody anticipated. Oh, such and such would beat him, such and such would beat him. First thing came up was how what's his name? Benavidez and Canelo would destroy this guy. I can't remember who it was, but I remember somebody dropped Benavidez, and everybody started saying the same thing. Oh, Canelo would destroy this guy. This guy got dropped by a bum. Blah blah blah. They just said the same thing about Devin Haney when he didn't knock out Gamboa. And no matter how spectacular he looked, the fact he didn't get the knockout. Now here's a fight, okay, where Charlo is completely dominating the fight. He's winning the fight. But this kid is fighting back. He didn't come to lay down. He's not as good a fighter as Charlo is. Now, you train for a particular fighter. So when you say, oh, if he fought Canelo like that, well, you would think the game plan would be different for Canelo. If he fought Benavidez, this game plan that you'd have for Benavidez would be different for the game plan you'd have for Canelo. Just like with Montiel, the game plan was different. And basically the kid kept coming, and he made Charlo have to, basically, if you win, I'm going to make you uncomfortable all night. I'm not going to let you get comfortable. And he just kept coming. And basically, I feel like Montiel's stock went up because people are going to look at him and say, yo, I can see this guy having action-packed fights. Because what he did against Charlo was action-packed, and that's what we want. So win, lose, or draw, he'll be that guy. He can become that guy that people want to put him in there, with to make exciting fights. Now, after that fight, and of course they had at the post conference and all that. I'm not even going to get into all the he said, she said nonsense, because let me just say this: I want to see Charlo versus Benavidez. They're in two different weight classes. Is Benavidez willing to come down to 160? Is Charlo willing to go up to 168? Benavidez responded how he would have did this. I'll knock him out. I promise you, I'll destroy this guy. My thing is, look, you guys are in two different weight classes. Don't say that, okay, unless you're willing to go to 160. Same with Jermall. Don't call out Benavidez's name if you're not willing to go to 168. Otherwise, it's similar, not the same, but similar to a Ryan Garcia situation. Ryan Garcia is hiding behind a mental illness excuse, but yet he has so much mouth about what he do to somebody, and he'll do this and he'll do that, yada yada, but yet he's not ready to jump in the ring and fight anybody. Okay, that's the only difference. They're not using any mental health excuses. It's just for some reason people call each other out and then they won't fight. Now, I thought it was a good fight. I'm looking forward to seeing Canelo versus Charlo. If it happens, I'm willing to see Benavidez versus Charlo. I'm willing to see Caleb Plant versus Charlo if it happens. If Charlo wasn't one of the best fighters, then nobody would make any fuss about who they want to see him fight. Does he want to fight Demetrius Andre? My whole thing is, I'm not into all the talking and name calling. When the time comes and these guys are actually going to fight, that's when we can get into it. But I thought it was a good fight. I salute both guys because they went at it. And instead of people enjoying a good fight, the first thing they start doing is looking for something to complain about, to compare to another fight, another potential fight that may or may not happen. Okay, if it comes down to it, and these guys finally getting in and mix it up, then that's a win for boxing, because it's so sad. And the thing is, I'm used to it. I realize that it's going to continue to happen. I told you guys this, last year. You're going to continue to have guys say each other's names, but then the fights don't happen. And the crazy part about it is you have lesser known guys who will jump in there. See, it's not just because they're hungry. It's because they need the notoriety. They want the fights. And once you get to a certain position where you can, make call shots. Jermall Charlo ain't living in that big ass mansion for nothing. Okay, you don't live like that. You don't have things like that, all these cars and all that, and you ain't making no money. So they start making bread and they start calling shots. Things start to change a little bit. It's changed a lot in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying it's all bad either, because I understand both sides of the coin. Okay, but it was a good fight, and I will say, yeah, he looked sharper against Derevyanchenko, but it was a different type of challenge. And I think that he really did underestimate him. I don't really think he thought Montiel would be as tough as he was. Like, he said it. But, people act like Jermall Charlo, if you listen to people talk, they'll act like this is the first time they saw him fought, and people seen him fight, and people made a big thing about it, and all of a sudden, this guy ain't what everybody said. You're not going to always look spectacular every single fight. There's going to be fights where you look better in other fights, and then people write you off, then you come back out and you prove them wrong. All that type of stuff happens. It was a good fight, and I thought Montiel held his own. He got outboxed, completely got beat. That's for sure. But I thought he held his own. He landed a lot of good shots. His jab was landing. He was landing the jab. He was having success with the jab. So it was times where he wasn't throwing it, and I'm wondering why he's not throwing it, because he was having success with his jab. He was catching Jermall with some shots. He had his moments, but Jermall held his own like a champion is supposed to. Now, somebody made a comment about, this is Chris Arreola versus Andy Ruiz. No, it wasn't Chris Arreola versus Andy Ruiz. Okay, let me break down the differences, okay? First of all, Jermall Charlo had, him beating Derevyanchenko, and I forget the other guy name who he beat. But those were his fights where, especially the Derevyanchenko fight, that was the fight that said, okay, I'm here. I'm one of the best pound for pound. I'm here. That's what that fight was. He passed that. He won that. He did way better in that fight. He definitely won the fight. People thought that Triple G lost the fight when he fought Derevyanchenko. So they're still putting Triple G's name out there, and I really don't even care to see Triple G fight, because he's so far gone from what he was that I just see him getting destroyed in there. But hey, he's his old man. If he wants to go in there, hey man, more power to him. And for one, he did something that a whole lot of people thought Derevyanchenko was going to beat Jermall Charlo. And they were like, he's going to knock Jermall out. Jermall is this and that. Okay, he won that fight. Now, Derevyanchenko is a guy that was tested. Never did nothing special, but we know he's a durable guy. He's kind of like, one of those Derek Chisora type guys. Let's see how you do against this guy, because we know this guy can fight. And if you look good against him, then you're ready. And that's pretty much what that fight was. And Jermall Charlo did his goddamn thing. Now, Andy Ruiz, okay, and let's not forget, Jermall Charlo is still champion. Andy Ruiz is a former champion who made a bunch of excuses as to why he lost. Okay, too much weight, too much partying, blah, 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 all this. He wasn't focused. And he comes back in his so-called comeback fight with the best training camp of his life, according to him, against a guy who we know is a journeyman, and at best was nothing but a contender. So Chris Arreola, he was always a guy that had a good punch. He was always a guy that, Chris Arreola was a good fighter. In his prime, he was a good fighter. Wasn't special, but he was a good fighter in his prime. But in his prime, he was never a champion. He's far from his prime now. And Chris Arreola was doing his thing. It was a good fight until Andy Ruiz caught him with that shot and fucked his wing up, which, hey, he got hurt in combat. Good shot by Andy. Put him out, put his left arm out of commission. He could barely use it. So pretty much, of course, everybody can say, well, if he didn't get hurt, yeah, we don't know what would have happened, right? But what happened happened. So there's no need to imagine. Completely different thing. Okay, and Derevianchenko is active. When was the last time Chris Arreola fought anybody? So, yeah, no, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Not to mention, Derevianchenko's name was constantly being mentioned as a top guy. And after that fight with Triple G, people talked about him more because it's like, damn, Triple G really lost that fight. So it's not the same thing. But it was a good fight. And whether you think, no matter who you think is going to win, okay, between any top fighter, the point is the fights need to happen. So when everybody starts jumping on the line and quoting this guy would do this guy would do that, yeah, okay. Well, Benavidez, if you think you'll knock him out, go to 160 and do it. Or Charlo, if you think you'll beat Benavidez, go to 168 and do it. All of the talking about I'll do this, you know, it's like some punk, coward, little childish, sissy type shit when somebody jump on and, oh, I guarantee you, I'll do this, I'll do that. Because what you're basically saying is, I want the fight all before that, but now you saw something that you think you can capitalize on. Now all of a sudden your confidence goes up. So now you want to be vocal about it. Make it happen. Now, speaking of Charlos, okay, since we're on the Charlos, talking about the Charlos, you know, I got to get into this because, you know, I like fucking people's feelings up when they're idiots and morons, and I'm about to do that. And the real ones, they're going to ride with me and understand exactly where I'm coming from. Jermell Charlo was interviewed and was asked about Deontay Wilder's excuses, and he said, you know, what do you feel about race? I saw the video where Jermell Charlo said race had nothing to do with it, right? Now, when he said race had nothing to do with it or race doesn't exist, he wasn't talking. He cleared that up later in another interview, which is good on his behalf that he did. I didn't think he meant it the way people said he meant it. I thought he meant it the way he explained. Like, I talked about it myself. How, yeah, race definitely exists. And it exists in boxing. It exists on your job, on my job. It exists. Oh, yes, it does. But like I was saying was, what in the hell in this fight and this whole series between Wilder and Fury could you blame anything on race? The most you can say is that they both have racist fans or some shit like that. Now, as far as having an effect on the way people see things, but as far as Fury versus Wilder, what was racist? Especially when we saw Wilder, and yeah, I got to get his ass again because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna get deep into what this guy just did, which you guys may not even be aware of what he's doing and what he's been doing. And I'm talking recently, right now, not some past shit. Well, some shit from the past leading to what he's doing right this minute, right now. What was said, okay, about the racism thing, as far as that particular fight and this whole first two fights leading to this trilogy? What was racial about it? Aside from each guy having fans that was making racist comments about the other guy and bringing countries and involving ethnicity and all that bullshit. As far as the two fighters, Wilder gave credit to Fury, would praise Fury. I've said this already, okay? Praise Fury. And we're the best two heavyweights. So like I said, when you turn around and say, we knew what time it was with Fury from day one, well, that means you knew he was a cheater, but gave him a chance anyway. So you must really thought he was really out of shape then. Because according to you, you don't fight cheats, even though you fought one twice. So now, not only did you fight Ortiz twice, but now you fought Fury twice. We know that you did that. You and Fury both thought you were going to freeze AJ out. That's what you guys were trying to do. We know that initially, which I've stated before. Now check this out. After all of this, right? Wilder finally comes out and starts talking shit about Fury. With that cryptic message and all that bullshit. Just to repeat, I'm just catching everybody up to get to my point. Well, just to repeat everything that we heard all these other boxing channels, his fanboy channels saying. Okay. From that point on, right? Let's go back before that. Remember when he got his ass whooped and Dillian White made that video where he was just laughing. Just cracking the fuck up. He wasn't even saying anything. He was just laughing. Okay. because Wilder got the shit beat out of him. Well, Wilder turns around when Povetkin gets knocked out. Remember? I believe in glass a glass. Remember that bullshit? Now check this shit out. I said, when I saw that video, because before that, remember, he wasn't making any videos. He had a couple of interviews. He made the comment about his costume being too heavy and he had no legs going into the fight. And, you know, he disappeared. That video disappeared. Remember me making a video saying, hold up, you mean to tell me your grown ass is that petty? You're that petty that you're more focused on responding to Dillian White, a guy that's never put his hands on you. All you guys did was have words. In fact, before you got your ass whooped by Fury, you and Dillian had some dialogue where you told him in a text message that I will freeze you out for the next 2 years, right? So, you basically respond to him, but the man that bust you upside your head with an egg weight, right? An unloaded, an unpadded glove, and all the shit you claim, you got nothing to say about Fury, because he wasn't saying anything about Tyson Fury. He wasn't admitting anything. He wasn't denying anything. You know, the only thing he was denying was the fact that he got his ass whooped fair and square, right? But even at that point, he wasn't. Just at the end of the fight, you know, well, no excuses, but, you know, the better man won, you know, but just had things on and just stuff that happened before I came out and just, you know, no excuses. Okay, nothing about something ain't right with the man gloves. Nothing. Yo, somebody spiked my water. Nothing. Pretty much, when he decided to open his mouth and speak, just to repeat the same thing that we already heard from all these other channels, these fanboy channels, it was like, okay, he's full of shit. Remember this, right? He had nothing to say about Fury. So he comes out talking all this, you will pay, the Bible says this, and talk about how he put a dent in his head with an egg weight, blah, 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 all that bullshit. All right, so now he finally talks and he says that shit. From all of that bullshit, check this out. This dude had nothing to say about Fury. But when he starts talking about Fury and calling him a cheat, and he finally starts doing interviews and talking about how he beat him with white privilege, and Fury cheated, and Fury is pillow-fisted, Fury can't punch, I took his best and he can't hurt me, blah, blah, blah. All this shit he said. This motherfucker got face-to-face with Fury for the first time. And like a big-ass 6'7" chocolate bitch, that motherfucker sat there with headphones on. You know, and the thing is with Wilder, in all honesty, the more his fans talk, the more you have a dislike towards his ass. Because he know the type of shit that's being said. And I'm about to show you how phony and fake he is. I'm going to break his ass down real quick. He sat there pretending he couldn't hear anything, bouncing his head like a little kid. Like a little kid, just sitting there bouncing his head. Then there was a point where he was just sitting completely still. And looking at his face, to me, it's like, yeah, he's listening. He's trying to pretend. We all know Wilder didn't want to answer questions. He know people are going to ask him, what about the proof you said you had? You know, and why is it that you think Fury had an egg weight in his glove? How could you prove something like that, though? I mean, why did you give him credit, you know, at the end of the fight? Why didn't you immediately say in your corner or to the referee something is in his glove? All the questions that make sense that he wouldn't have been able to answer. He knows. Fury himself would have had questions for him. He knows he would have made a bigger fool out of himself by speaking than he would by doing the dumb shit that he did by being quiet. Because basically he's going to be put on the spot to have to prove what he said. Now check this out. Since that press conference, this motherfucker has done 4 interviews that I've seen. It could be more about the surface. 4 interviews. And every fucking thing that he wouldn't say to Fury's face is what he's saying on other fucking interviews. But he sat there in front of him and wouldn't even look him in the face. And that bullshit stare down. And I mean, it's like he had to force himself to do it. Then he did it and he walked away looking like a little nervous like he looked like a little nervous little girl. And I'm looking at him like, yeah, this dude, Fury's in his head already. He has fear of Fury. I don't give a shit what y'all think and what he thinks. What he tries to make y'all think. Fury is in this dude's head. You respond to Dillian White, but not Fury. Okay. Jermell Charlo was asked about the racism thing, right? Let me get back to that. He says racism had nothing to do with it. The better man won. Fury beat him. Simple. All of a sudden, all the so-called Jermell Charlo lovers that love Deontay, oh, Jermell's a hater. Jermell's just jealous. What? Jealous of what? Deontay's never even been unified champion. Jermell is. So what are you guys jealous of what? You know? At the end of the day, Jermell Charlo, like he said, look, man, I like Wilder as a fighter. I like Fury as a boxer. And he said at the end of the day, fuck Fury, fuck Wilder. If Wilder really about that life, okay, he said he gonna smack me or whatever. Like you said, I got people around me that'll die for me. Let's see if he really about that life, right? But check this out. Jermell Charlo is 154 pounds. Here you are, a fucking heavyweight. Why you ain't tell Fury? Why you ain't smacked the shit out of Fury when you sat right there next to him and wouldn't look at him with them big doofy ass headphones? I guess the next excuse would be, well, the reason I lost to Fury in the third fight was at the press conference, man. The headphones I had on, if y'all remember, they was too heavy, and I actually turned to my left and I broke my neck. I didn't realize my neck was broken until, we got in the ring. And 15 minutes before I walked down the ring, I went to turn my neck, and all of a sudden my neck couldn't turn. And yeah, it'll be some more excuses. You like to respond to people. He said Dillian White is gay. He said he saw Dillian White in America when they came to the fight or some fight or whatever. He ain't say nothing. Okay, what did you say? And again, you're responding to people who has done nothing to you. But the man who you claim did all this dirt to you, you had nothing to say. So again, why you didn't get up and go over there and smack the shit out of Tyson Fury? Why you didn't even open your mouth or to even say, I'm going to smack the shit out of Tyson Fury? But you say, oh, he's just a hater. When I see Jermell Charlo, I'm going to slap the shit out of him. Nobody's afraid of you, Deontay Wilder. Nobody. And at the end of the day, the fact that you're even saying that shit, but yet you such a black advocate, supporter of black people, all that man did was gave his opinion that the better man won. So I get the idea, like we said before, you like to have yes men around you. So you're pissed off at Jermell Charlo and want to make idle threats to a fucking junior middleweight. But the motherfucker who you claim is a no good, racist, dirty cheat fucked you up. No, let me rephrase that. Fury fucked you all the way up. You sat next to this man, wouldn't even look him in his eyes. But you screamed on Radio Raheem, to this day, who's a non-fighter, screamed on him simply for giving you an interview and asking you to elaborate on what you meant. You love snapping on people that's either too small to fight you, not a fighter at all, or just basically too smart to fall for your bullshit. So anybody who express themselves and they don't feel like you do, and there's some little motherfucker on top of that, you want to fight him. But the motherfucker who beat your ass, who illegally fucked you up, who cheated, who had Bart Breland on the payroll, who sat there and had JDs under some kind of hypnotic spell. Maybe that same heebie-jeebie shit you was talking about. Yeah, maybe that's what they had on Mark Breland. That's why he sat there and watched him wrapping egg weight in his fucking hand but didn't say anything. According to you, right? All of this shit you said. But mind you, you wouldn't speak at your own press conference, but you spoke afterwards. 4 fucking interviews, separate interviews, after the fucking press conference. And you know what's crazy? None of your little punk ass followers who get on their knees and sniff your balls and shit, right? Not one of them corrected you and said, Deontay, hold up, man. We've been rocking with you and we understood the silence. Okay, we made it. We pretty much said, okay, he no talking. He ready to fight. He ain't got nothing to prove. But now here you are on 4 separate interviews. And you talking shit about Fury. You talking shit about Anthony Joshua. Oh, Anthony Joshua don't want to fight me. He's scared. I've been gave him off. All this shit. So now, instead of you addressing Fury this way, why are you talking about all this shit on these other interviews when you said the time for talking was done? You dialed in. You already know what it is that you wanna, do when you get in the ring. No, you know what your stupid minions will say? Nah, that's different. He talk about as far as Fury, cause Fury. No. That's exactly the point, assholes. That man beat the shit out you. He listen. Fury fucked you up, man. Fury fucked you all the way up. And you ain't do jack shit. But you're going to sit here and say how Dillian White saw you and he didn't do nothing. But you didn't do nothing either. So your point was what? What was Dillian supposed to do? What was he supposed to do? Then you turn around and bring AJ's name into it. You bring the Darrell brothers' name into it. Andre Darrell just got interviewed, and they wasn't sure if it was Anthony or Andre who threw in the towel. Now check this out. Andre said, no, it was me. He said, yeah, I'm over there like telling Mark Breland, throw in the towel, man, throw the towel in. He said on the other side, you could see one of the Charlo brothers doing the same thing, and different people like, yo, throw in the towel, because he was getting this shit beat out of him. They asked if you could do it all over again, would you? He said, absolutely. In a heartbeat. He said, look, I thought, as far as I'm concerned, I say that man for further punishment. He said, I can't say I made Mark Breland throw the towel in, but I think maybe I influenced him. He said, look, I'm not trying to make friends with him. He don't like the Darrell brothers as of now, so I'm not going to chase him around trying to be friends with him. He don't have to like me. He was like, but I'm looking at the man like his health. He's like, that guy was getting beat up, which is true. Okay, so think about this, right? Mark Breland throwing the towel in, according to Deontay, was part of the master plan, wasn't it? So why would he need to be influenced to throw the towel in, if that's what he was going to do anyway? But I always said I thought it was pretty funny how he just knew what round this shit was going to happen. They made a perfect plan, and you can see, now you can put all this shit together and see how they did this and they did that. Let me tell y'all something, man. And I'm saying this not to be sarcastic. I'm telling you this from the heart. Take it how the fuck you want. Deontay Wilder is either extremely stupid and or delusional. If that motherfucker really believed the shit that's coming out of his mouth, something is really wrong with his fucking head. And again, making threats to Andre Darrell. You're always fucking you're a tough guy with people who ain't did shit to you, but you're a pussy when it comes to Tyson Fury. Because this is the second fucking time where you made a string of videos and you talking all this shit about Fury, but you ain't do nothing when you had him in your sights. You ain't do shit. Dillian White didn't do nothing when I saw him. You talked all this shit about Fury. You ain't do nothing when you saw him. But sit there bopping your head to some fucking music. Look, man, I'm going to say it like this. I don't know this man personally. It's not about me liking or disliking the person, but honestly, his minions and the way y'all nut hug him and the way he act, it's like his character, I just don't, like, I don't even like watching this dude, man. As far as him fighting, no. I just want to see him finally prove himself against a top guy, because that's something he hasn't done yet. Okay? At the end of the day, I don't really care personally. But it's hard for a man like me to even understand why people even take this guy serious. But when I listen to the excuses that they make, I'm like, they're just like this motherfucker. That's the problem. They're just like him. That's why they nut hug him the way they do. I think y'all got some serious fetish fantasies about this dude, man, because let me tell y'all something. It's funny how all of his little minions can make a million videos about this man every day, sucking his ass about how much of a king and how great he is. But when someone stands up to the lies and the bullshit, oh man, all y'all do is make videos hating on Wilder. Nah, we call it like we see it, jackasses. That's how that shit goes. So again, Dillian White didn't do nothing when he saw me. You ain't do shit when you saw Fury. And you talked all this shit and then you pussed up when you saw him. You did nothing. I know you was hiding behind those headphones because you didn't want to make a bigger fool out of yourself than you already had. And to be honest with you, I believe if he would have started running his mouth talking, he would have made a bigger ass out of himself, because pretty much he wouldn't have had no answers for anything. And then he sit in that same video and contradicts himself and said he had no proof, right? We all heard it. We all heard it. But 4 separate videos I've seen, and this guy got all this tough guy talk when Fury's not face to face with him. Fury's in this guy's head, man. Y'all can talk all the shit y'all want, but that dude has fear of Fury. He has fear of Fury. There is no fucking way. You know, imagine this, right? Somebody tell you you got the ugliest shoes that they ever seen. Right? Another motherfucker take a brick and smack you upside your head with. But you decide, I'm going to go after that motherfucker that was talking shit about my shoes. Wait. So you want to fight the dude that talked about your shoes. But the dude that took that brick and went upside your damn noggin, you just going to talk shit about him from a distance, but when you see him, you ain't going to say nothing or do nothing? And you really tell me Dillian White laughing at you gets under your skin more than the dude that beat the shit out you, put a dent in your face, right? According to you, right? Put a dent in your face. I know the picture. I saw the dent was more up on the temple area. Now all of a sudden it's down here. But however it goes, bottom line, after what Fury did to you and all the claims you made, you mean tell me you don't want to smack the shit out of him? Or no, I'm going to wait till the fight. It doesn't trust me. It's different. See, come fight night. Yeah, I know, blah, 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 blah. But you said you had nothing to say. You ain't want to hear nothing. You ain't want to talk about nothing. Nothing else to talk about. But yet, you go on 4 separate videos where Fury's not face-to-face with you. And you got all this tough guy talk. What do people say when you bring up dead people names about what you did to a dead person? It's one thing when somebody asks you a question. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, I don't think nobody could beat me. The fuck, I'm gonna sit up here and say this guy could beat me, that guy. What the fuck? No, it's not how that goes. You gonna have to prove that shit to me. But to bring up somebody from the dead, what do they always say? Yo, the dead is not here to defend themselves. Okay, you had all this shit to say about Tyson Fury. Okay, I want you guys to feel this shit. And you got in the fucking room with him. Wouldn't even look at this motherfucker. Sat down with your bullshit headphones on, bopping around like a big ass fucking kid. And you don't see how you played yourself. Your minions don't see nothing. Cause your nuts is covering both of their fucking eyes. They all that hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. You talking about the same people you roll with, including yourself. You just describing you and your minions. So basically, all of that shit that you said, and then and you heard Ellie Setback say seconds after. This nigga said seconds. So moments after that, that bullshit you did with your headphones on, you sat in the room with your wife and there's 2 other cats in the room with him. Ellie put the full video up. I'm not watching that shit, but I seen enough. It's like an hour and 25 minutes long. This motherfucker had nothing to say, right? Nothing to say. Just that bullshit opening statement. But he talked to Ellie Setback for an hour and 25 minutes about nothing. And to show you how fake Ellie is, because Ellie, if a real reporter would have said, well, Wilder, why was you so quiet? And then with Fury, but now you saying all this stuff now. Like, why? Why wouldn't you let him know how you feel? Why wouldn't you sell this to him? That's what cowards do. A coward will talk tough behind your back. When you're in his face, he's not going to say any of that shit. I told you, man. Fury is Debo. And Wilder is Smokey. If you don't know what I'm talking about, y'all seen Friday, right? I got mind control over Debo. Debo be like, shut the fuck up. I be quiet. But as soon as he leave, I be talking again. That's Wilder. Jermell Charlo ain't punch you in the face with no egg weight. He ain't spike your water. Huh? Jermell Charlo ain't do nothing to you. All Jermell Charlo did was said, nah, man. The man, he took your loss. Y'all learn to take your loss, man. You lost. Or I'm going to smack the shit out of him when I see him. You know what's so funny, man? Paulie Malignaggi made a comment that got him booted off of a network. And a lot of people said, fuck you, Paulie. I didn't hear you say nothing about Paulie Malignaggi. It's funny because you always talk about black, but it's always somebody black that you wanna do some harm to. The way I see it, man, it ain't so much you give a fuck about black people. You give a fuck about you. and you're trying to round up all the black people you can to support your black ass. That's what I see. I don't feel like you give a fuck about black people in general, man. Because it's so funny, out of everybody, JD still got a fucking job, yet you sat there, come on, man, 4 white men against 1 black man in court. Come on, man, you know they're right. Everything is, no, listen to him talking. He's not focused on black people. It's all about him. Everybody's ganging up on him because he's black. Everybody's against Deontay. Wilder's black and white people don't like it, and they doing this to me and that to me, and then, anybody that's black that don't see the way things the way I see it, then they my enemy too. All this is what you do. You all about you, man. And you only extend your hand to those who support the shit that you say. Plain and simple. Malik Scott is a yes man as well. For the simple fact, he's saying you're giving him everything that he's asking for in training. Cool. He don't have to get involved in the social media side of shit, right? But the thing is, Malik Scott is talking a lot of shit about you and what you're gonna do and all this other shit. I saw the motherfucker jumping rope like he just learned how to cross. He jumped super slow, maybe because his legs are so scrawny, he just can't jump fast. And he jumped like a fucking beginner. I can look at that motherfucker and see he got no rhythm. When you watch Deontay jump rope, I can show you some shit with the ropes. All right, you can tell that motherfucker's a beginner. He like he's counting 1, 2, 3. Just his movements, nothing's fluid and smooth. I'm like, look at this motherfucker. He twisting, that little amateur. That's the first thing you learn is the little side. They teach you that before you jump in the rope. They teach you to go here, open up, boom, 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 go ahead. He's doing beginner shit with the rope. And they, oh shit, yo, Wilder looking good, right? And somebody put a video up saying, oh, Wilder debunks the whole thing about Breland because Breland said he couldn't jump rope. No, let me tell you something, man. Wilder himself said he don't jump rope. But you see how they quick to put Breland in. No, Wilder said he don't jump rope. What else? He said he don't hit the speed bag. This shit came out of Wilder's mouth. But you see how they're going to throw it at Breland. Like, Breland was hating all along. Come on, man. Stop. So again, before I end this video, you want to smack the shit out of Jermell Charlo. You claim when you see him, you're going to smack the shit out of him. Which ain't nobody trying to hear that bullshit. But another black man for giving his opinion. We know what you did to Mark Breland. We know how you accused the black referee of fighting against you when he took a point from fucking Tyson Fury. And you claim he didn't take no point, he didn't do nothing, you let him do what he wanted to do, and he took a point from him. And his wide eyes was making sure you was okay. He watching you, but nah, they was all in on this plot to give me my first loss. So they was meeting up somewhere like the fucking Justice League in the Batcave, right? Where nobody could see him. And they all planned this shit. Then he talking about pictures and shit, photos. So, in other words, I got pictures with Mark Breland in their camp. He's trying to insinuate like see, all this shit that you call proof, bullshit, okay? At the end of the day, this dude is a big-ass kid. He ain't even grown up yet. He hasn't even grown up yet. And you talking all this shit, you know, for Juneteenth, you want to twerk your bony ass like that's what we care. Nobody want to see you fucking dance. Who the fuck was you doing that for? You know, you sitting there talking about how you want to experience having a baby on some old weirdo shit, man. And your fucking minions sit up here and back up everything you say. You talking about Fury being a gypsy, but damn, you sitting there talking about you want to get pregnant. The fuck kind of man are you? What kind of man even thinks about shit like that? I'm going raw on you motherfuckers because I don't give a fuck how you feel. But I'm like, you know, getting annoyed with you motherfuckers trying to talk like this dude is so respectable and he's such a fucking warrior in the ring. No, let me tell you something, man. In the ring, the guys he fought so far and Deontay has showed some heart. Yeah, he showed some heart. He keeps talking about how Fury can't punch. And yeah, that's one of the things. He doesn't fear Fury's punching power. But again, if Fury had power like that, now when he sits down on his shots, yeah, his shots are going to be effective because of the weight behind him. But if he was getting hit by a guy like AJ, If he was getting cracked by, somebody who really has some power, it'd be different for him. Your chin ain't get no tougher since Howard Sconia knocked you out and you got your second chance. You just basically, you've been doing what you've been doing. And I'm looking at Wilder thinking, like, man, when this guy's talking, I really look at his facial expressions, man. He got the little beady, sneaky looking eyes, man. I just look at him and I'm just like, what the fuck happened in his man's life to make him think the way he do? Like, he really can't believe the shit he's saying. I'm a grown-ass man. And honestly, watching Wilder at 35, it feels like I'm watching a teenager. When he starts talking, I feel like I'm watching a teenager have a conversation. No, forget Jermell Charlo. Go over there and smack the shit out of Tyson Fury. People have scuffles before the fight. Go smack the shit out of Tyson Fury. Huh? Stop talking bad about Andre and Anthony Durrell. Stop bringing up fucking Mark Breland. And why you keep bringing up Anthony Joshua's name when everybody knows you don't want to fight him? You're scared to fucking fight him. You and Fury both talking shit about him. Neither one of you really want to fight him. You don't want to fight him because you would have did it already. You never unified. With Charles Martin, bum-ass Charles Martin had the belt, and you wouldn't even go after Charles Martin. And you know why I'm calling him a bum? Because you called him one when AJ beat him. So, yeah, I'm quoting you. So why you ain't go beat bum-ass Charles Martin? Why you never fought Klitschko? Now you got your minions talking about, oh, I got proof that Klitschko ducked him. Fred the Barber, or Barbershop, whatever you call Barbershop Conversations, whatever he called his fucking self, he sat there and said that you had COVID. He saw you, you just dapped him up like, yo, man, you ain't like, y'all usually, give a hug and all this shit and whatever, embrace. And then he's like, you didn't even do that. You just like, yo, man, I'll get up with you. I could tell something was wrong with champ. And yeah, he had COVID. People made that as an excuse that Wilder was going to come up with. Somebody made it up for you. 4 separate interviews after your press conference. And you got a lot of tough shit to say about Fury and everybody when they're not in front of you. But face to face, you bitched up, didn't even say nothing. And got the nerve to say Dillian White saw you and didn't do nothing. You didn't do shit either to Dillian White. And when you seen motherfucking Tyson Fury, you wouldn't even look at him. And you wouldn't even take your headphones off like a fucking man and face whatever you had to face, Nah, it's not just about I want to be focused, don't lose my concentration bullshit. Because if that's the case, you wouldn't be doing no interviews. None. Anthony Joshua finally had one interview. This dude is the one who's getting screwed in terms of him, as far as his legacy and him wanting to unify. He, look, he's trying to make the fights happen. You guys are talking. So Anthony Joshua's not jumping on interviews. Yo, let me have an interview so I can just talk about people. You do that shit. Fury does that shit. But you guys don't want to really fight him. You show me you don't want to really fight him. I'm not saying that because I just feel like saying it. I look at your actions. I'll hold you accountable for what comes out of your mouth and the things that you do. And watching what you do and listening to what you say shows me you don't want any parts of Anthony Joshua. And the only reason why you really got the heart to fight Fury is because Fury's not a big puncher. Truthfully, the revenge you talking about, all this anger, that shit may backfire on you. One, you got a right hand, but you too light in the ass to be trying to fight the way you trying to make people think. So when we saw you getting on your toes on a little chicken ass legs trying to dance around, you better have a game plan and have the discipline to stick to it. Because in all honesty, I don't see you being able to back Fury up unless Fury let you back him up. If Fury decide to back up, you too light in the ass to do that shit, man. And for people who don't understand that, okay, when you got little weak, skinny fucking legs like that, and you got a big 275-pound dude leaning on you, and you're nothing but upper body with just a one hand, Deontay don't throw explosive combinations. He don't throw combinations, period. He throw one shot at a fucking time. And the only time he throws more than one shot really is when he's doing that little wild windmill shit. So them little combinations you see him throwing on the mitts and all that, I feel like what Fury said, and not because Fury said it, but because of the logic behind it. Soon as he gets fucking hit and start getting fucking shots thrown at him, and he getting rocked, he gonna start resorting to what the fuck he knows. That other shit that you trying to learn now is too late. Prove us wrong, get in there and do something. Stop threatening fucking junior welterweights. You worrying about motherfuckers who ain't did nothing to you, but the motherfucker who did something to you. And here's the thing, what makes it so bad is, you the one talking about race. But it's a white man that fucked you all the way up, and not one time, all you talk about is blood will be shed, get your tickets now. And nothing to say. And then as soon as Fury's not in front of you, you got all his mouth. And if that's not some coward shit, tell me what is. And a coward will never see another guy as a coward when he look in the mirror and see that same motherfucker. Because that's what you and your minions are doing. Cowardly shit. I'm going to threaten a little junior fucking middleweight. I'm going to talk shit and threaten another fucking junior middleweight or whatever, you know, and I'm going to just make all types of excuses and the world is against me, and basically whoever's stupid enough to believe that this is all for a black cause. No, it's for you. This ain't got nothing to do no black cause. This is fucking for you. A couple of years ago, you sat there and talk shit. Mike Tyson at that point, at least as far as I know, Mike Tyson ain't said shit about you. Oh, who Mike Tyson beat? Y'all talking all this shit. Mike Tyson, them motherfuckers he beat was born. They were scared of Mike Tyson before he got in the ring. Who Mike Tyson beat? You all this shit that you was talking. Then Malik Scott, he ain't shit. Because Malik Scott beefing your head up talking about Deontay Wilder is 10 times better than Muhammad Ali. He got you thinking that. You ain't never beat nobody. You never even beat nobody on Kid Norton's level, motherfucker. So how in the fuck for this man to even tell you that? Malik Scott, I didn't care for him as a fighter. He had better technical skills than you, but overall, it really didn't mean shit, because against a guy so limited like you, his so-called technical skills couldn't save him, right, from a guy who only had one hand. So how good was Malik Scott? That's why I said Malik Scott wasn't shit as a fighter. He was better than you, technically. But again, does it matter? No. No. Because you threw a punch and the fucking wind knocked him out. So, what does his skills mean? Especially if you got skills but no heart. When you ain't got no fucking chin. So all that arrogant shit, this motherfucker sitting there with a little cigar, I don't know, you motherfuckers like to make yourselves feel like you're something bigger than what you are. But at the end of the day, I had to get this roasting session on. I had to get it on. And I'm like, nah, you motherfuckers keep making videos about him, praising him. He all of a sudden now keep making videos talking shit. But you let this, according to you, big bald-headed white racist motherfucking cheat, no good, dirty, devilish ass, evil, rotten, dirty, popping motherfucker beat your ass, and yet you ain't gonna slap the shit out of him. You ain't gonna slap the shit out of him. You ain't tell him you gonna slap the shit out of him. You just told him when the fight happened. Yeah, blood will be shed. That's what you said. What did he tell you? I've heard all this before. We know what happened last time. He said, I'll give my game plan. I gave my game plan away last time because Wilder's not good enough to do anything about it. And I'll give it away again because he's still not good enough to do anything about it. Just like you cherry-picked him, he cherry-picked you. This third dance, y'all already had this shit planned. It was agreed a long time ago. Who cares? Maybe after this, you'll wind up fighting Luis Ortiz for a third time. I mean, at the end of the day, bro, all that nut-hugging that people do and overlooking the facts. Explain the floppy glove. Explain the text message saying that I'll freeze you out for 2 years. See, this man can do no wrong in your eyes. But I know like this. If I got something to say to any motherfucker, I don't give a fuck if you're 7'5". I get right up in your motherfucking face, say what I got to say. And whatever the fuck you want to do, we can do it. I damn sure ain't gonna be picking on no little motherfuckers. Ain't picking on nobody. But I'm gonna speak my mind whether you like it or not. At the end of the day with you like yes men around you. And see, when your minions are sitting up here telling you, you know, all that, yo, champ, yo, I mean, let me explain something to y'all. Anytime somebody, especially grown-ass men, can call and refer to another man as a king. Yo, telling you, man, that's the king, it's my king right there. Nah, something wrong with you motherfuckers. There's certain attributes people have to their name, you know, certain little nicknames I don't use. Remember that rapper back in the day, Big Daddy, I called him Kane. They call Rakim a lot. No, you just Rakim. Call Run DMC the Kings. No, y'all just Run DMC. That's all. Y'all just didn't know. Queen Latifah. No, you're just Latifah. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck is anybody that I have to bow to you or treat you like you. No, I'm not a fan of nobody though, and I tell you that all the time. So it makes it very easy. Look, motherfucker, you bleed just like I do. You put your pants on, well, some of y'all. I put it like this: we're human beings. You know, I saw a picture today. Somebody, I forgot what social media it was on, but somebody posted a picture, and it was so true. They had a house that looked really raggedy, and then they had this big ass mansion, big fancy mansion, and underneath the raggedy house, there was a ditch for a coffin. Underneath the mansion was a ditch for a coffin, and it said, whenever you think you're better than the next person, just remember, we all going in the same place at the end. And I can see some dumbass, yeah, well, at least while I'm on this earth, yeah, I get it. You like to be rich and make money, and hey, more power to you. But they overlook the bigger picture of what that statement is. And when you have a bunch of followers, a bunch of people who actually get on their knees, crying, oh my God, I don't get starstruck over nobody, man. Nothing, never have, never will. Even as a kid, that didn't happen to me. And I'd be damned if I'm gonna be a grown-ass man jumping up, going crazy, losing my shit, and referring to somebody in any way other than, you know, that's one of the things I like about you know, well, certain places I've been. You know, I know in Jamaica like that, man, when they singers and all, you know, when they come on stage, people dancing and jumping and dancing, all this yo bashment and all that shit, yeah, they having a good time partying. But like they see singers and stuff, and yo, about y'all, big up respect, man. Ain't no fucking, oh my God, oh, can I get your autograph? Nah. You're just a human being, man. That's all. That's all you are. That's all you are. And not that you got to take my advice, because I wouldn't take none from you. But when you call somebody gay, let me just say this about Dillian White. I don't know what his sexuality is, but I ain't never seen Dillian White put his hands on his knees, arch his back, stick his ass out, start rolling that shit. I ain't never heard Dillian White talking about he wanna experience having a baby. Like I said, boy, you want some weirdo shit. And the thing is, you're so arrogant and talk like you are the only decent. You and whoever you choose to say is decent are the only good people on this earth. Just you and whoever is in your circle. Everybody else is some fuckboys and some haters and all. But yet you twerking your fucking ass. I don't know how your wife feel about you doing that shit, but at the end of the day, she should be doing that shit, not you. Jermell Miller went out telling everybody he screwed your girl. Right? What did you do to Jermell Miller? See, this is what I'm saying. But what did you do to him? Nothing. But I remember he got mad because 50 Cent was in the middle of that rumor or something like that, right? Yeah. I guess when you realize a motherfucker ain't scared of you, you just, you know. But you did have a lot of fucked up shit to say. Well, Jermell Miller can be an asshole at times too. So I get that. I get that. Jermell Miller do be mouthing off. But again, you have a lot to say negative about black people who you claim you all about your blackness. This ain't even about constructive criticism. This is just about somebody giving their opinions on what they think. And if their opinion ain't what you think it should be, you get an attitude. Fuck you, who cares? I love Andre Darrell's response. And I love Jermell Charlo's response. It's like you want to control the narrative of everything and everyone. And as long as you have millions, you will always feel like you can do that. Because with them, you can. The show don't last forever, man. And the same people making excuses for you right now, someday it'll be other people they screaming and cheering for, and it won't be you. But your legacy, as it stands right now, you got a lot of work to do, man. All them knockouts against who? You have undefeated fighters other than Marciano and Floyd and Kawasaki and Andre Ward. There's other undefeated fighters. And you know what happened? They don't get recognition because why? They said they ain't fight nobody. And that's why when I say, well, who the fuck did Deontay Wilder fight that puts him up there? Some asshole was like, well, who did Fury fight? You dumb fuck. Nobody gives a fuck about who Fury fought. I've always said Fury has a very weak resume. I've always said that shit. But he beat Deontay's ass, didn't he? So it ain't about comparing Fury to Wilder. It was about what came out of Wilder's mouth. That's what was being addressed. Nobody's taking it for Fury. Fuck Fury. But at the end of the day, Fury beat Wilder's ass. You can't fuck. He beat Deontay Wilder's ass. Remember the old man on the barbershop in Coming to America? Yeah. He beat that ass. So even to ask that stupid ass question is like, I ain't got to say nobody but Wilder's name. Never fall in love with, look man, never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. I'll catch y'all in the next video.